let me go through one thing that's really, I think, an important little overall. And you should ask this as well if you work with other teachers. What's their purpose, as an artist? My purpose has nothing to do with what the subject is about, where the source of light is. I have as I had described to you, even in our email, one of the first lessons, each painting that I create has a reason other than what is the subject matter. So if there were mountains or rocks or a river, trees, I never use that word as to why I'm painting this, because I like a mountain river with trees in the background. So I have a reason for the painting, but I also first want to tell you the reason as a painter. I want to create something that just grabs the viewer, stimulates their imagination, makes them or reminds them of a similar drive in the fall time of year through a scene that was a rolling country road or something of that nature. Hey, Mom, doesn't this remind you of this? That's why I am a painter. I like to have what I'm doing not be a reporting of what I saw, but kind of a trigger mechanism to stimulate the viewer, your imagination, reminding you of some type of place, late afternoon, long sunset, fall colors, whatever. And so that's the reason I am painting, is to capture their imagination, give them something to think about, but yet it's not quite like they're used to seeing. Now that's a little magic secret ingredient that I can suggest for you. If you do something that is like the viewer is used to seeing, their attitude is going to be, oh well, there it is, been there, done that. So I will have a color they're not used to seeing in a tree. I'll have a shadow pattern that they're not used to seeing. I'll have an angle of view that they're not used to seeing. So I'll take and have oftentimes something that isn't quite right, purposely, so the viewer doesn't become complacent and say, yeah, there it is, I'm used to that, been there, done that, I've seen it before, isn't that nice? Nice is the least favorite word I like to hear after I've created a painting. I'll share with you some examples of the same scene painted a couple of different ways, because I'm not looking for, if I can get that there, I'm not looking for nice, I'm looking for something radically different. I'll bring this under the camera, you'll have a chance to see it again later on. I might even show it as a slideshow. So, it isn't about being picture perfect. Is my mission, is my purpose to be exact. I am not about being exact. Now, I need to know some things. I've got to spend time plein air to get an idea. Okay, to start with, it's kind of like this. But then maybe I might add an accent color of purple on a green tree that isn't really there. I might have purple somewhere else to harmonize with it, so there's technical points. But for the most part, it isn't about getting it right, getting it accurate, getting it perfect, getting it exact, and getting every blade of grass and every crack in the wood and every rusty nail and so forth and so on. Because the viewer then, the tighter, I've experienced this so many times when I've had paintings and I stand next to them at art fairs or at galleries and so forth, and when the tighter the painting, the viewer's conversation to themselves or someone else is about where it is, what it's made of. Oh, that's an old tin roof. Look at the tin roof on the old barn in the country. Wait a minute, I didn't paint it so you could name that it was a tin roof. Old, weathered, and rusty, that's okay to have that conversation, but to now name the type of object that it is, those are cumulus clouds, that's not why I painted. I know that rock formation, I know that's in Sedona or whatever, that's not why I painted, so that you could have that immediate answer or identity to what it is or where it is, who owns it, what it's made of. I got it. Those are Anderson windows. That's not why I painted, so that you could name if they were Anderson or Pella windows. So they're going in a direction. The tighter I paint, the viewer goes in a analysis, a self-talk about the subject that I didn't want them to go. Instead of, oh, I like the color, like the contrast, like the glow, like the radiance, like the path of light, things like that, I like them to have the thought other than the perfection. So when I'm painting, and this goes along with our morning session, as you're painting, just worry about bright color. Just having a nice variety of color that keeps the viewer engaged. If it's the same red you know, again and again and again, they will look at one part and they know the rest is the same, and they'll just, their eye's just going to go fast across it. Here they'll have to stop, they'll pause, they'll go slow, they'll interact, they'll engage. I do a lot of dark and light. In other words, part of the wheel is dark in front of light, and part of the wheel is, another wheel is light in front of dark. And here, the same wheel is both. There are fences that are light in front of dark, and there are fence posts, you know, that are dark in front of light. All meant to just engage the viewer to look slower, to kind of take it in, think about it. That's not quite finished. I'll think through. The viewer will finish thinking where that board continues without having to show them every little part in detail. So I'm letting go with. In fact, this is inaccurate for the source of light. Look at how this building and the wagon casts a shadow going from here, from left to right. So the source of light is behind the barn. Well, if the source of light is behind the barn, how come this side of the building is in shadow? Wait a minute, if that's in source of light, shadow going this way, holy cow. And I'll show you paintings where I had source of light, I had shadows going in different directions. It's all about, I'm trying to create a really engaging painting. So that's one of the factors that I've said for today's painting. I want to have some dramatic play of sunlight and shadow, which kind of takes place towards the end. But that's what I want the viewer to be impacted by, just not trees, maple trees